Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation 4 review. Today's review is for the brand new game just released today, John Wick Hex. A game that I have actually been quite looking forward to, mainly because I'm a fan of the John Wick films. Let's be honest, who isn't? The fantastic action films. Now this is a game, it is not a full price game, it's $15.99 I believe I paid for it in the UK. So this is not to be compared with these full price AAA games. This is in actual fact quite a nice tidy little game. It's nothing special, it can be certainly very repetitive, but it's got some nice mechanics, they all work, there's no bugs, there's no glitches, there's no game breaking bugs or anything that I've so far encountered the game, and I've been playing it a good number of hours now. Now essentially what we're getting with this game is a really nice, highly stylized, great art style type game that is in the same spirit as the turn-based games like XCOM and other ones like it, and it's a top-down isometric view, and it basically focuses on John Wick before the first John Wick film. Now it's got an air of authenticity to it, this game. It's got some voices you will recognise from the films, and essentially you go through these levels and they get progressively harder as you go through the game as John Wick, and you've got to basically take out your target at the end of each level. So there'll be about 5 or 6 different levels. You've got to make your way through these buildings, and the trick here with this game is it kind of flows as the John Wick films flow. You know, the action flows in them films, it's almost balletic. Well, to some degree they've really tried to recreate that in this game, and essentially you've got to get through the beginning of the level to the end of the level just picking up what you do through the levels. Each time you start the next section, you don't start with your gun fully equipped again and all your bandages on, full up. If you ended that last section with clinging to life and you've no bandages left and you've only got one bullet left in your gun, you'll start the next level like that. So you've got to be really careful and really strategic how you make your way through the levels. You can only carry one gun at a time, so as one runs out of bullets you've got to pick one up off the ground that one of the bad guys has dropped, as per John Wick does in the films, and you've got many different ways to take down the enemies in this game. You can do it up close and personal, using his martial arts skills and takedown skills, things like that, and they look really cool as well. Or you can do it long distance with handguns, and as you progress through the game you get different weapons, and you can use your imagination as to what they are. So it's quite clever how it does that. It makes the levels quite tense because you've got to think ahead. You've got to think, right, if I take this enemy down here, how many weapons have I got? How many bullets have I got left in this gun? So you've got to plot ahead. Do you reload your weapon for this next turn, sort of thing, or do you change your position, roll over there, and as you roll over there, this criminal, this bad guy, is going to come around this corner, and then you will have the option to take him out with a weapon, and there's a guy just there on the left of you that you'll be able to take down using your hand-to-hand skills. So you've got to be quite strategic. It's almost at times like a game of chess, I suppose. It's a very highly strategic game, but it's not overly harsh. It's not. When you die in this game, you don't get that feeling that it was the game's fault. It was your fault, basically, if you die in this game. You didn't plan out your attack properly, you didn't plan out the level properly. Because you don't know where these enemies are situated on the level. You'll start into this level, and you've got to basically figure out where they are. Now it might take you 5 or 6 turns to get through the level, and by the time you get to the 5th or 6th turn, you'll know pretty much where everybody's situated, and then it's a case of planning out what you're going to do, how you're going to draw these enemies to you, but not too many at once. Bring these others round, and then you'll flank them round the other side, and it really forces you to be strategic because you're not well armed. You might only have a handgun with 6 bullets in it at one point, and you've got to take these 2 enemies out, and one of them will probably drop a gun, then you'll pick that up, and then these other ones over here use that gun to take them out. So you've got to be really clever in how you plan out the game here. I think personally, I think this game looks great. It's got a real nice art style to it. It's got a unique look to it. Certainly I think it stands out in regards to the art style of it and how it looks. There are a couple of animations that look a bit weird. There's something basically where you refresh yourself in the game, which basically gives you your focus back, and every time you click that, it does like this little shake in the game. It just looks a bit odd. I think they could have animated that a little bit better. But I think by far the coolest thing in this game is when you have completed a level, a section of a level. A level, if you like, is about 5 or 6 sections. So each time you finish a section, you can watch the replay of how you got through that section. And it's really cool. You can really see the action flow, and if you get it just right, I mean, early on in the game, watching the replays back can be a bit cringy because you're learning the game and it's all a bit janky, and you just might get through on the skin of your teeth. Whereas after about an hour playing this game, it starts clicking and you start figuring out how to make the action flow, and how by crouching and flipping over that way, you know, it'll bring these enemies towards you, and then you'll take that one out with the gun, you'll take this one out hand to hand, pick this weapon up, you'll flip back this way, these 2 enemies come at you, you'll take that one down, and it starts flowing, and sometimes you'll get through a level just like that, whereas an hour previously it'd have taken you 5 or 6 turns to do it. And I think the learning curve of this game is just right. Yes, it can definitely be frustrating. There was more than once playing this game I was immensely frustrated because it just seemed like I just couldn't get through a level no matter what I tried. And then boom, you'll do something will click, and you'll be like, and you'll get through it the next turn straight away, and you'll be like, oh, that's what I should have done. So it does reward patience, this game, and you really do enjoy watching the replays back because you feel like you've actually achieved something. You do feel a bit of a badass when you get through one level without barely getting a scratch on you, and it all flows exactly how it should in the movie, things like that. So I think for the price of this game, you've got to give it a bit of credit here. It's like I say, it's not a AAA game, it's not a full price game. It is essentially a $15.99 game based on the John Wick's universe. Now, yeah, I think a fair point to throw at this game is, if it didn't have the John Wick franchise attached to this game would probably be very forgettable. If it was just a normal top-down isometric strategy game with no franchise attached to it, and certainly not the John Wick one, you'd probably dismiss it quite quickly. But because it's got the John Wick name attached to it, it does give it that edge, it does give it that little bit more excitement when you're playing it. But it is certainly not, it's not going to blow your mind. I think veterans of games like XCOM will play it, feel to some degree immediately comfortable, even though they've put a nice twist on it, on the turn-based strategy here. So you will definitely feel immediately comfortable playing it, but it's not going to blow your mind, this game. It is quite repetitive. It is basically just going through these levels. They get progressively harder as they go on. The weapons get more advanced. The bad guys get better. And you've just got to keep upping your game as you learn the game as you go through these levels. But that's basically it. You'll get a few cutscenes here and there with some voices that you recognise from the films. And then you'll move on to the next level. It'll be the next section, next section, next level, same thing, and it just keeps going. But I do think you actually do get your money's worth here with this game, and I'm having quite a lot of fun with it. It's just not going to blow your mind. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's good fun. I think it looks great. But it is certainly repetitive. But I think if you're a fan of John Wick, it is certainly something you'll pick up, I think, and I think for $15.99 it's worth it. So that's my review for John Wick Hex. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching.